Hi and welcome to Leitrim Daily. My name is Breffney Early and you are listening to episode 120 of the show. Today is Faces and Places, and recently I went along to the Leitrim Boxty Festival, which was held in the Dock in Carrick and Shannon. I caught up with two of the judges of the event, Detta McNiffe of McNiffe's Boxty and Aine Faughnan of Dromod Boxty, who were to decide amongst 8 finalists in Leitrim's Best Boxty Maker competition. We'll also catch up later in the show with first and third place competitors in that competition, but you're going to have to wait a little while longer to find out who they are. First of all, I spoke to the event organiser, Deirdre O'Connell of Lena's Tea Room. We'll hear from her, and then I'm going to hand it over to the MC on the night, Tommy Moran, to guide us through what was a lovely ceremony celebrating the good and the great of Leitrim culture, Boxty, and a little bit of trad music and dancing with Edwina Coke. Deirdre O'Connell, one of the committee members here in the Leitrim Boxty Festival, happy with how they went?
Absolutely thrilled. Couldn't have gone better. We had such a huge crowd come in right throughout the day. We opened at 12, just finished now about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and it was so good. We had so many lovely Boxty stories, people sharing their recipes, talking about potatoes, talking about what Leitrim and Boxty means to them, and it was just fantastic.
Of course, it wasn't just what happened in the dock here today. There was the competition took place a couple of weeks ago, but this morning in particular, you had a Boxty festival all around the town. So all of the eateries around town got involved. How much work was involved in putting this together behind the scenes?
A lot of work, and we actually came at this in quite a short space of time because it's part of the Taste the Island event, and that was actually just launched in end of June, so we had to kind of hurriedly put something together, and it's part of, as I said, their events, which happens between September, October and November, and we're delighted to be one of their big events.
Tell us a bit about the competition which took place a couple of days ago, which you announced the winners tonight. How many entries did you have?
Oh, we had lots of entries, and on the day itself we had 8 people making Boxty, and they all made pan Boxty, and they made it kind of more or less in a traditional method. And what we could see from this evening's video, where there was a snapshot of everything that had happened, it looked like great fun. People were taking it very seriously, and lots of healthy competition.
Congratulations on a fantastic day. It was a really good buzz around the dock all day today, and best of luck for next year.
Thank you very much.
Aine Faughnan, you're with Dromod Boxty. You're one of the major partners of this event. Boxty is obviously a big part of your family life at home.
Yeah, it is. My dad and mum started making Boxty in their kitchen back in 1990, and then they turned our old family shop into a bakery in that year, and they started producing their own Boxty and distributing it around the local areas in Leitrim.
How important are events like this to raise the profile of what is a fairly common meal to people of a certain vintage, but maybe to younger people who might not be familiar even what Boxty is?
It's very important. As you say, it is a lot of the older generation who have the stories and, nostalgia around Boxty, but it's great to get the younger people involved at an event like today, where they had the singers and the dancers, just to get them aware of it, I guess, and we all had samples to hand out to the kids, so they were all, they had us cleaned out fairly lively, so I'm sure they will remember, and in the future feed it to their kids as well, hopefully.
What was the reaction like?
Great. I mean, we didn't know how many people were coming. We had no way of preparing, and I'm sure Boxty is a refrigerated product, so you're not really, you're not going to resell it, obviously, so it is kind of hit and miss at the start, but we got it pretty right. As I said, the kids had us cleaned out pretty early on, but for next year I think it will be slightly bigger, so we will have a better indication going into it what's kind of required of us, really. Great success, I think, and everybody had a great day. I took over in 2015. My mum and dad retired, so yeah, I'm running the show. Well, obviously I have really good staff as well, but yeah, mum and dad kind of are sitting in the background, obviously giving me advice when I need it, but yeah, they have it fairly handy now. Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the business in terms of numbers of staff and where you're located.
Okay, so we're located in Dromod, County Leitrim, just outside Carrick. We have currently 9 staff, including myself. We are getting busier as every year we're getting busier, so next year we do hope to employ some more local people.
Well, listen, Anya, congratulations on being involved in such a fantastic event, and wish you the best luck with the business going forward.
Okay, thanks very much.
Detta McNiffe of McNiffe's Bakery, one of the producers here in the county of Boxty. You're involved with the Boxty Festival. How happy are you with how today went for you?
I'm very happy actually, because we had a huge crowd. Everybody seemed to have enjoyed themselves very well. I know there would be people here who would be disappointed they didn't win, but I know we were tough judges and we had certain criteria that had to be met. So I think we tried to be as fair as possible, and I think we were. And the people who won were true winners, I believe.
There's always going to be a little bit of I thought mine was better than yours.
Yes, of course. Everybody believes, just like we do. We believe we're the best. And that's what we always try to achieve. And I guess everybody is the same. Everybody who does something believes that they're the best.
Did you see anything in this year's competition where you might think, we might add that to our recipe, or maybe another little offering that we might offer next year?
No, you see, because I believe our recipe is the best and the only one. So from that point of view, from it being a traditional and an original Boxty, we won't be changing anything in our recipe.
How important is Boxty to the people of Leitrim?
Oh, Boxty is very, very important. It brings them back to their roots. It's what they were born with. It's what they ate almost every day. It's so important to them. When they hear now of Leitrim, straight away they think of Boxty, I think.
And there's nothing quite like having it when you're away from home, just that little taste of home.
Absolutely. I mean, I have brought it over to, first of all, I've made it when I was in London. I made it in Germany and in the US. Now, we went to visit my family in Australia at Christmas, and the biggest suitcase I had with me was a full suitcase of Boxty. You can imagine, it was just amazing. They were just overwhelmed with it.
I'm guessing that came home empty.
It sure did. I left that case after me. Somebody could take that case home, because I didn't have clothes to put into that case to take home.
Well, listen, congratulations on your role in an absolutely fantastic event. It's great to see a local delicacy being celebrated like this today in the dock.
And thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Dias Mura Cordia, you're all very welcome to the final part of the Boxty Festival here in Carrick-on-Shannon. And as I said this morning, you're all attending the world's first Boxty Festival. So it's something that we could call it the World Championship of Boxty, not just the Leitrim Championship. You're actually attending the second part of the Boxty Festival, because the first part took place in the Food Hub in Dromod, a place you've all heard of. If you haven't been there, you should go and visit it, because it is, I know they're opening a visitor centre soon, but you can still go and visit it in the Food Hub there. And all the competitors came there, and it was a bit like the television programmes that were all behind the table and had a dish and they were putting them underneath, and then this is one I baked earlier and all that sort of stuff. So for that, I would like to thank the Food Hub, but particular thanks to Noel McPartlin. He's with us today. I thank Noel McPartlin. And when we mention Noel, I'd just like to mention that he has been selected as the Leitrim Guardian Person of the Year for next year. So congratulations to Noel McPartlin. And then today, from the people who competed in the Food Hub and in other centres, we have the 8 finalists, and we'll introduce them to you later on. The 8 finalists are here today. They're looking particularly well. There's a lady here who has new jumpers and new blouses, and she was with the beauty parlour, and there was all kinds of things. I don't recognise them. If you saw them with aprons on them and dishcloths and everything, I don't think it's the same people at all. I don't know. But they're looking very well, anyway, the whole lot of them. The judges, of course, were from the 2 commercial Boxty makers that we have in the county, from McNiffe's Boxty and from Dromod Boxty. And so we had Aoife and Detta and Michael and McNiffe from McNiffe's Boxty, and Timmy Faughnan and his daughter Aine from the Dromod Boxty. So we'd like to welcome them here today. Delighted that they could come. So we mentioned them, and there's a lot of talk about Boxty, and I don't know if you're all from Leitrim, you don't need any introduction to Boxty or anything, but Detta McNiffe will just give a short talk now on the heritage of Boxty and what it means to the people. Give her a big welcome, please. Detta McNiffe.
Thank you, Tommy. Good evening, everybody, and you're all very welcome here this evening. I'm delighted to see you all, and thank you to all our contestants, because it was wonderful to have you in the Food Hub. You were all very good, and I think you all worked very, very well. It wasn't an easy job because we were tough judges. as we always are. We're tough when it comes to stuff like that because we're very passionate. Us as producers are very passionate about what we do. I mean, my husband and I started our business back in the early 80s, so I suppose that tells its own story, that if we weren't passionate about what we did, we wouldn't be here today. So we're very passionate, we're very proud of what we do, so that's really it. So having said all that, Boxty is great stuff. It must be good stuff when I see all of you here today. It fascinated me as a child growing up. I was probably making Boxty from was about 9 years old, or maybe less, in fact. Being the youngest of 9 children at home, and things weren't so good. Boxty was wonderful to have, so I always ended up having to grate the potatoes, and this fascinated me, how this product could turn into such a beautiful dish. So obviously I must have loved it, because when I was in my first year in secondary school in Ballinamore, our home economics teacher at the time said, you know, you've been great students. I mean, I was only 13 at that time. On your final day, you can make or bake or do whatever you want. So I said to my cooking partner, let's make Boxty. So, of course, all of the rest of them were making butterfly buns and queen cakes and what have you. And here was I coming in with my potatoes, and she brought in the flour and I think the salt, whatever the ingredients we needed. And we made the Boxty, and I must admit it was absolutely gorgeous. Now, that friend of mine is in New York for the last number of years, and in fact, when we first exported to the US, and she bought it, of course, she called me and she said, oh my God, Detta, she always called me Keegan. I was Keegan before I got married. She said, Keegan, that Boxty tasted as good as the day we made it in the Tech in Ballinamore. So, of course, that made me feel really good. But anyway, apart from that, I mean, I'm going back to probably around the time of the famine. The potato crop failed, and it took something like 5 years for it to come back up again. So then, when the potatoes came back on, and there was an abundance of potatoes, the people then, of course, because that was the mainstay of their diet, really. I would love to meet the person, I won't meet her now, I guess, who first came up with Boxty. I think they were absolutely genius. I know it has been perfected and has been changed, and people have their own variations, you know, down through the years, and that rightly so. Everybody has their own way of doing it. But for us, as producers, we have our secret recipe that we don't give out to anybody. I'm delighted to see all of you contestants here today. I wish you the best of luck, and you've been lovely to work with. So I'll hand you over to Tommy.
What Detta doesn't know is that I managed to get the secret ingredient when I was passing the day in the food hub, and it's printed out, and there'll be one for everybody in the audience. Relax, Detta, we don't want. Boxty is one tradition that's very strong in Leitrim. Another tradition that's very, very strong is traditional music and dancing. And we have a lady in Leitrim who must be one of the best in the country. Would you give a big welcome, please, to Edwina Coke? And Edwina is going to dance the Boxty dance. You might have seen her in The Observer, and I'll tell you one thing, I don't know what sickness she may have, but one of them is not arthritis anyway. Wait till you see her perform. She's going to be accompanied by John Toohey on the pipes. John is a native of Kilkenny, but he's living in Drumsna now. He came a bit upmarket from Kilkenny, living in Drumsna, and Edwina Coke and John Toohey to perform the Boxty dance. A big welcome for them, please. Thank you very much, Edwina and John. Isn't that lovely? Well done. The 8 finalists are Paula Heatley from Corla. Then we had Helen Foy from Estlin Elizabeth Reynolds from Ruski. Mary Farrell from Ballinwing. Hey! Eileen Kilkenny from Mohill. Phyllis Moran from Drumshanbo. And it is with great joy that I announced that there was one gentleman made it into the final. He comes all the way from Dromahare. His name is Michael Clancy. We have Rose Keegan from Mohill. Give a nice round of applause to the 8 finalists. And now, ladies and gentlemen, there's the 8 finalists. We don't know yet who is the winner, but we'd like to introduce the judges. So we'll have Detta and Aoife and Michael McNiffe. And then we have Timmy and Aine Faughnan from Dromod. So we have the judges there. We'll have a word with each of the contestants. Rose, will you come up here for a second?
Well, I'm a proud member of ICA in Mohill, and I learned all my skills and cookery and baking and how to make the boxty. And I'd love to pay a tribute to Annie Cox. She had done a demonstration, and I was good at boxty after that.
Michael, well, you didn't learn from Mrs. Annie Cox anyway. No. How did you learn to make the boxty, and when did you learn?
I don't have that much practice with it now. It wasn't too long before the competition that I started. I was told the ingredients by, actually, it was Anne Cooking that got me into the competition, and it was her that told me about it. So I went in for that, and then boxty be very big in our house, and we eat it all the time, but my aunts make it as well, and so did my granny. I would have got the recipe between them and Anne Cooking as well. It wasn't in grams that they gave me the recipe. They told me what it was in it, and then he kind of made it from there. So like that, I couldn't tell you how much of anything I put into it, but if you give me a bowl and all the ingredients with it, I'd be able to show you.
Good man. Are you a chef, are you?
Well, I'm a caterer, yeah. I have a catering business in Dromahare.
Oh, good for you. That's how you were able to work it. He only started making boxty the day before. Would you believe that? And he got into the final. Well done, Michael Clancy. Now, Phyllis.
Well, I'm making boxty all my life too. I got my recipe from my mother and make it every winter and don't make it as much in the summertime. And with the Shamboy CA. And
do you do patterns and wool and embroidery and all that sort of thing?
That's going.
And yap and talk about the men, what they should be doing and all the rest, I know.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, Phyllis, well done, thank you. And next we have
Eileen Kilkenny. Well, I suppose I was in Drumshanbo in the food hub in 2006. I had a cooking class, and I was asked to make a cake. So I did say to the chef in question, which was David at the time, if you're going to give me that cake, I won't be able to come up with that, so it's else do something I can do or else out the door. So David said, okay, sure. So I went over to the corner of the kitchen and started peeling potatoes, and there was a bit of drama with the women, like it's not fair, she's doing what she wants and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, lo and behold, I made the boxty anyway, and David sent a sample of it to Fergal in the food hub. So he came back to me and said it was really a fantastic boxty and asked me to go to the market, so I did that. So from then on, I'm going to markets and shows and events and things like that. So I love making boxty.
Now yourself, I know you're going out later on tonight, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be celebrating.
You make boxty for long?
Well, my mother taught me how to make boxty. And to begin with, she always said she never minded cooking if she hadn't to cook. That was the first thing she taught me. She never minded cooking if she hadn't to cook. And she said once you had a heap of potatoes in the garden and a bag of flour in the corner, there was no need to be anyone to be hungry. That was.
Wasn't she right?
She was right. She was right.
Yeah, well done, thank you.
Never mind, you could make boxty.
Good.
I'll tell you a funny one.
Tell me a
My fella went to work in England for a year with Telecom 30 years ago. And he was with two of them Shambo fellas. And they were a bit reminiscent and getting a bit missing the boxty and missing home. He said, I'll make boxty tonight. And the landlady agreed to it and he made the boxty. But her husband was taken away in the ambulance during the night.
He must have got a heart burden. Come out here next, please. Thank you.
Hello, Tommy.
How are you?
Good, and yourself?
Tell us your name and all that.
I'm Elizabeth Reynolds, originally from Atnasheelan. and living in Rooskey for the past 14 years. I would have grown up with Boxty, been reared on Boxty. My mother, my grandmother before her, always made Boxty. So from a very young age, we would have known how to make it. So when I went off on my own and got married and had a couple of children, I would have made Boxty for them, and still do.
Fair play to you. Fair play to you.
It'll be sort of a Boxty morning.
Boxty morning. Thanks very much. Okay. And now, how are you?
Helen Foy is my name. I've made Boxty since I was 12 years old. My mother and my mother-in-law both give me good recipes for it. And I've entered at all the agricultural shows and won prizes first. And they're at Clune Show.
Are you giving a hint to the adjudicators now, are you?
Of course, yes, why not? And I love making it.
Good for you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And that is the Curla woman, is that right?
Yep. No better place to be from.
No better place. She's from Cavan. Tell us where you learned it.
Well, I was very lucky to grow up in a house that my grandmother, my mother and my father could all make Boxty. So it was always something that was made in our house, and it was passed on to me, and I make it with no specific recipe. It's just a bit of this and a bit of that, and that's the way we make it, and the kids love it and keeps everyone happy.
Good for you. And throw in a bit of a Wellington or anything you can find there. I think we're getting near the moment for the results. There'll be a drum roll now in a minute. There are 3 prizes, so we'll announce the 3rd prize first. In 3rd place, I have to wait to get in my earphones coming from the studio. In 3rd place is Michael Clancy. Well done, Michael. In 2nd place, it's getting tense now. In 2nd place is Mary Farrell. What do you think of that?
I think it's wonderful. Thanks very much.
And now we come to the 1st prize. The judges, as I said, were the McNiffes and the Faughnans from Dromod and McNiffe's Boxty. So I'd like to thank them very much, because their input was very important. You know, if they didn't get behind it as well, the committee would be at a loss as well, because it'd be very hard to get local people to judge it. And of course, when they were in Dromshambo, everybody was judging. They said, I think that's nice. And then you eat another bit and say, just that's not bad either. And then you beat another. But anyway, a round of applause for the McNiffes and the Faughnans. And I just want to tell you, if you're going to America or you're going to England or going anywhere, don't be trying to think of presents to bring to the family or anyone over there. Just bring them a couple of packets of Boxty, and they'll love that, because they can eat it. Instead of bringing them, ornaments or pictures to hang on the wall or something, they'd delight it. And all you have to make sure on the customs form that you put in that you have food on it. And the winner is, all the way from Dromshambo, Phyllis Moran. Well, I have a word with Phyllis. Are you nervous, pet?
Yes, I am, yeah. Well, I'm delighted to be part of this festival. And I'm not the only winner. All those people are winners with me. Yeah, every one of them. And they all made good Boxty too, I must say, yeah. And I'm delighted with you and Omnic Parkland for tasting the Boxty and sampling it. And I'm saying the taste is on your mouth since, is it?
Well, I ate your Boxty, it took me 3 days to get rid of it. I ate more rennies and what have you. I'm only joking you, Phyllis. It was lovely. Phyllis is a great woman. She's very involved in the community in Dromshambo. She's in the ICA. It's a third of one ICA woman beating 2 other ones, That doesn't go down too well. But anyway, a round of applause for all the competitors, please. And when we mention the food hub, we should also thank the manager of the food hub, Fergal McPartland. Fergal is doing a marvellous job there in the food hub in Dromshambo.
I want to thank the judges. They were also good on the day. And we're all a bit nervous that day too now, I must say. But I was anyway. Yeah.
No, you did well. You did, and they all did well. It's marvellous. We hope you enjoyed it. Michael, you'll be back next year. Yes. With the help of God. And you'll all be back. Right. A round of applause again for the winner, Phyllis Moran from Dromshambo. Sit down there.
Now that was the ceremony on the night, and congratulations to all 8 finalists, but in particular to our winners. Once again, congratulations to everyone who took part in the competition. It was a great day and a great event. Phyllis Moran, Boxty Champion maker. Does that sound very nice to you?
Oh, it sounds very good to me now. I didn't think I'd win it because the other ones were all good winners too now, and I'm delighted that I did win it. But I'm making Boxty all my life. It was handed down from my mother, and I won at shows and different shows here and there, and I make it in the winter time, not as much in the summertime, and the grandkids love it, and so that's the way now. And it's just potatoes and flour and salt and a pinch of sugar.
And why did you feel you had the want to enter this competition in the first place?
Oh, well, I seen it advertised in the Food Hub in Dromshanbo, and I said I'll enter this now, and went in and I entered it, and little did I think, because everybody else, and it was very tense because there was judges watching us, videos and cameras and everything, and it wasn't that easy.
In terms of next year now, you have to defend your title. What are you going to try differently? Are you going to be back to defend that next year?
Oh, I don't know. Are you allowed in the next year then?
Well, I think you have to. You're the person to beat next year now.
I probably will go in next year, yes. Sure, it's beside me in Dromshanbo, and we have McNiffe's Boxty there too.
Well, listen, congratulations. Nice to be a county champion, or as Tommy Moran said earlier, a world champion Boxty maker.
Not at all. I wouldn't say I'm a world.
Well, listen, congratulations.
Honestly, it came from the older people anyway, and you're never hungry when you have a bag of potatoes in the house. That's
listen,
for sure.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Brittany.
Michael Clancy, 3rd place in the Boxty competition, but I believe you've only been up to that day. You'd only really started the day before. Is that true?
That's right, yeah. So it was just a Friday now. I wasn't going to let that on. I wasn't really going to let that on to anyone now before the competition, but yeah, it was just that evening beforehand, because I only got a few days notice that I was going to be in the competition. So I said it was about time that I learned how to make the Boxty. So it was the evening before anyway, yeah. But I said I chanced my arm, and I eventually got it the way I wanted it anyway. So I finally got the quantities right. But now if you ask me what they are, I couldn't tell you.
I heard your presentation was one of the best things about it from some of the audience here tonight.
Yeah, I was happy enough with the presentation of it anyway. It looked fairly good and held well together. And like that, I've improved it since as well. I'm kind of happier with the way it turns out now than on the day. But yeah, practice makes perfect at the same time.
So you're actually still making Boxty?
Still making Boxty, yeah. I'm making the last 2 weeks now. I've made 14 cakes a week, and it doesn't last long in our house at all. It's set round the clock in our house, and then obviously the neighbours heard about it as well, so they're getting in on it too.
I hope you're selling it, not just making it for people and giving it away.
Well, it's a tough one to sell now, but at the minute I'm giving it away. But I'm looking to start selling it. I actually have a catering business down there in Dromahare, so it might be a new venture, and then maybe this time next year I can venture in and get the competition again. But yeah, it could be a new venture for the catering business anyway, and start selling it.
You better give the catering business a plug there. What's the name of the company?
So it's MC Catering and Cakes down in Dromahare. So getting busy now, especially for the Christmas. I have a Christmas menu coming out as well, a takeaway menu, and people come and collect everything on Christmas Eve. But things are going good anyway, yeah. So
the Christmas week is going to be busy for you.
Very busy.
Well, listen, congratulations today. Blessed amongst women you were today, but well done.
Thanks a million. Take it easy now.
And we're going to finish the event back in the Dock Theatre, where Matthew McDonagh of the Landmark Hotel and Paul Cunningham of the Dock are going to say their thank yous, and to thank the MC for today, Tommy Moran.
I'd just like to say a couple of thank yous to Aoife McCormack, who has been working very, very heavily behind the scenes, and Natalia, sorry, my apologies, Natalia, I know she's at the back somewhere, and also a big round of applause for Tommy Moran. What a job all day. And we hope to see you all again next year for the second Leitrim Boxty Festival. So,
thank you very much.
Now I'm just going to grab the mic. Hi, how are you? I just wanted to say thanks to everyone for coming, and that's on behalf of the Dock Arts Centre where you are. We've had a wonderful day, and we hope to see you all again next year. But it would be remiss of us not to thank Tommy again for the wonderful job he's done, and we have a little token of our appreciation for him, which we wanted to pass on. a voucher for Lena's Tea Rooms. I understand you frequent that establishment on occasion, and also a night in the Landmark Hotel. So, ladies beware. He'll probably be on the lookout for someone to share the suite with him. So, Tommy, thank you so much. Well, you're taking them now under duress, and thanks so much for all the work you put in today.
So there we are. Thanks very much to all the committee and a marvellous festival. We hope you enjoyed it, and thank you.
And that, folks, is all we have time for today. Orla McNabola will be with you tomorrow for the What's On guide, while I will be back on Friday with a preview of the weekend's sporting action. Talk to you then.